and welcome to the first part of Introduction to Electronic Login or Computer Login, whatever you want to call it. So today, 18th of March, we're just going to cover an introduction into Qrz.com. How many of you actually use it?
Not,
you know,
not as a login program, just
okay. And then in 2 weeks' time, I'll follow that up with Log4OM, which is a dedicated login program. And what we'll do then is integrate Log4OM, so when you log a QSO in Log4OM, it will automatically upload it to Qrz.com. So you've just got one source of inputting your QSOs, but it will show up automatically on Qrz.com. Okay? Right, so part one. So what is Qrz? Well, it's really a phone book for all radio amateurs. And licensed amateurs all around the world, you know, put their call signs in there so that if you go on to, if you want to know something about anybody, go to Qrz Page and you'll get their details. Some are basic information, others have photos, online logs, their station details and their life stories. So what we're going to cover tonight is how do I get my call sign listed. We'll have a look at the free version, a subscription-based service, and then we'll look at some costs that are involved if you go on a subscription-based. We'll take a look at typical Qrz page, look at some confirmations, look at some filters, and then we'll look at exporting a file from Qrz. So this is the page for how to get my call sign. So if you look at this, you know, what they're saying is the DX helper will help you to list your call sign. So all you got to do is contact that group there and compose a new thread and provide this information around here. That's the mandatory information. But what you can do is also add this optional information, but you can add that at a later stage, which is recommended because it will give you your details of where you are. So Mike, do you want to click on that link and we'll have a look at it? So this is the database where you look. So if we opened, say, scroll down a bit. Yeah, click on there, please add my call sign. So there's some details of an amateur in United Kingdom. There's his call sign, his name, his grid square, his previous call signs, his email address, etc. So he's given a little bit more information. But that's all you've got to do. A simple entry into the helper's guide. Okay, mate, I'll do. Is everybody okay with that? Nice and easy? Or is it on pause? Right. So we'll have a look at what the free version looks like. So it's available to all registered users. It's free. It enables you to log your online contacts with the workstation that you've been in contact with. It's got the ability to access your log. You've got the ability to access your log from any internet-based computer, and either you or the other party can actually enter the record in Qrz, and that will go towards your Qrz rewards. What the system does then is it looks up what you've put in, what the other person's put in, and if they match, they will confirm that QSO. If for any reason you haven't got the confirmation, there is a process where you can ask for that, and we'll cover that in a minute. You can enter any QSOs either by entering them manually in qrz.com or from an ADI file and import it into qrz.com. The failings with QRZ is it's got no rig control. So everything you have to do is manual. So you're going to have to set your frequency, your mode, the date. I think you might put in the date, but any other information you're going to have to put in that manually, and that's going to take you a little bit of time. If you use a logging program, as soon as you bring up the call sign, it will put all that information in for you. So the control you've got is to add, delete, and edit a QSO. Right. So if you pay a subscription, you get the ability of adding some additional call signs. So my call sign is 280 SPS, but I actually can add to QRZ stroke mobile, stroke portable. I had an occasion this year where I was at Portable and I contacted my first ever aeronautical mobile station. I had a nice QSO with him, logged the QSO as 280 SPS. About a week later I got an email from him saying, I'm not going to acknowledge your QSO because you were stroke portable, and he wouldn't acknowledge it. So now I've added portable and mobile to my Qrz page. You can also customize how the logbook looks in the customization window, so you can move columns around or delete columns, I believe. And you've got the ability to export files from QRZ into any other, into a contest or any other logging program. The other benefit, you've got this API integration, which allows any third party to actually communicate with qrz.com. And what it would do is to allocate you an API key, which then you input into your other logging program. So once the logging program sees that API key, and you log the QSO and enter it, they'll automatically populate it into qrz.com for you. And we'll cover that in log4om. Right, so these are some of the benefits. So as you can see there, this is available with a paid version. And there's my API key. You can also export the files by clicking the export. What's available with the free version is that you can actually import a file. And there's one I've imported there. So that shows you that's an exported file. Once you've gone through the process of exporting, you can then click this download button here, and it will download that file to your computer, wherever you want to save it. If you just wanted to confirm that the file has been substantiated, then you just click on this view report, and what it will do is, and I'll show you later in the presentation, it will just confirm that there's 200 QSOs. There was no reported issues with the download. Right, so costs. I'm not going to cover all of them, but I will cover this one. This is what I pay for. I think if you go up, Mike, it's around about £27 a year. But the benefits you get is the biggest benefit is this third-party logbook integration. So the way I've got my system set up, if I log an FT8 contact, it will automatically upload to my log4om, and then from log4om it will automatically upload to QRZ. So I've got my main database for all my QSOs is qrz.com, but that will do it all automatically for me, so I don't have to copy any ADR files, upload them, all done automatically. Likewise, with any contest that I enter, they will automatically be uploaded to log4om and then into qrz.com. Right, so what we've covered the next one now. The next one. Right, so we've covered the first part. We've looked at, what what Qrz is. It's a phone book. We know that probably 99% of vouchers around the world put their entry into Qrz.com, and we've covered what you can actually put in there. So the other things we've covered is how to get my course listed, the free version, limitations, that subscription provides some additional benefits, and the costs. So the next thing I think we're going to cover is, let me just check. Look at a typical Qrz page. So as you can see there, this is my call sign, name, just a brief description where I am. I QSL through eQSL and Logbook of the World. 9,000 odd people have looked at my Qrz page. I've made 7,000 odd contacts, and I've been awarded 6 awards along there. So the one I'm proud of is the DX100, so that means I've actually contacted 100 different countries around the world. This is the little badge you get when you've paid. And here is just a little bio of myself, what my station details are, etc. This is a little picture of what I've uploaded. You can upload whatever you want, maybe a picture of yourself, your radio, etc. So the other thing I've done is added this widget, which is a visitors widget, and here it gives me the details. You can see all the maps around here. That's all the people from these parts of the world have actually visited my Qrz page. And that gives you some statistics here, that 13% from the US, majority from the UK, etc. all the way around. And then it gives you an average of how many people visited yesterday. The other widget I've loaded is this last, I think it's the last 12 Qzos, and it just shows you the last 12 Qzos that have been entered into my log. So now we come to confirmations. So we talked about confirmations earlier on. So if the two contacts match, you'll get a little star here. So that's a Qrz confirmation. If you didn't get a confirmation, you can actually request it, and it's further down here which you won't see, but we'll see it in the live part. Can you just go down and see this there? I don't think it is, no. And you just request a confirmation, and they'll give you a little black mark along here to say, and that will notify the other person that you've requested a confirmation from him. Now, as you can see, you probably see that 30% of people won't reply to that. The other thing, I also subscribe to Logbook of the World, and I upload my logs to them to get the additional confirmations here. And the little round circle says that that QSO there has been confirmed with Logbook of the World, and that goes towards my awards in Qrz.com. So this is a typical filter. Now you can write this, there's a lot of choices in this box here, but this is what I write on a quarterly basis so I can enter my log for the Qrz awards. So what it shows here is, this is the filter that I'm using. You go with that one, Mike. This is the actual filter, the filter that I've wrote, which is, the rule is that I want to get all my QSOs from the 1st of the 7th to the 30th of the 9th, which is Q3. If you go back all the way. And then once I hit that button, it will tell me that in Q3 I made 197 QSOs. We'll scroll back over again. And then all I do is just hit this export button here, and that will export that log of those QSOs. So once you press that button, the first stage you'll get is just a confirmation that you're going to be exporting from this logbook. That's the amount of records and some additional information here. Once you hit this button, then you get the next bit of information to tell you that the Qrz is preparing your ADIF form log. And then if you press continue, go on to the next one, then you can also request or view just to confirm that the log you've downloaded is okay. So what it's showing here is, that's the date that I actually downloaded that log. This is the filter that was applied, which we showed before. And there was 197 Qrzs in that log that I've exported with 0 errors. So this is a typical ADIF Qrz details. So it just shows, you know, this contact was from 20 meters. This is the call sign. Call sign. This is some of his details here, going down. This was the actual frequency on transmit and receive, and this grid square there. You go back. And then here's my details: Paynton, England, my zone, etc. This is the person I work. This is my call sign, the date that the log was uploaded, etc. So for every Qrz, for every export you do, for each Qrz, this is what each Qrz will look like. Okay. Right, let's have a look at, we'll have a look at a live Qrz page. So do you want to click on that, Mike? So this is my Qrz page, as we looked before, going down. There's the widget. If you click on the widget, so that brings up the history. Right, so if you come back out of that one, right? So those are my awards. If you click on my little English Riviera sign, I'll just enlarge it. The English Riviera there. That's my little picture. And about somewhere there, I think. Okay, it goes out. Right, so you can put anything you want there. You can put details of your radio, mud shot, whatever you want really. Alright, so now if we go to if you go back to see my go back to the live page. Go click on my call sign. Go to edit. So here you can add some details. If you click on this part here, this is where you can add your spiel about your details of your station, etc. And you can add your different widgets down here as well. So that's where it shows up on my main page. Okay, go back. If you then go to my grid, so this is what you really want to put down is your grid location, and I put an approximate details of where I am. I don't actually put it on my specific house. I put it away from that, so it's just a little bit of security for myself that if anybody looks at it, they're not going to break into my shack and steal my radio. So I just move it a little bit away from the actual address, which is quite a good idea. Okay, if you go back. Sorry? Yeah, well, yeah. But they'd have to look for it. If you come back, go back up to the top, go to there, and then go to go to account. So this is the account here. So it says that I'm a subscriber.
You've not bothered with two-stage authentication, John?
I don't know.
Any reason?
I just never bothered. You can do if you want to set it up. I'll just find it down.
Two-stage authentication normally applies to things like rewards, which is actually basically confirming who you are,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to keep sending in copies of your license. You just do various things once, and then essentially speaking, you have proved to the owners of EQSO that you are actually who you say you are.
Yeah. It's just a double. So using your password when you log into your Qrz Page, you can actually set up this second authentication, and it might send you a text message. I'm not sure what it does.
Right.
Right. Right. Right. Okay.
Bank. You do
Yeah.
online banking.
Yeah, my bank. If I do buy anything over say £100 on the internet.
Set up a payment and
Yeah.
they'll say, right, we're going to send you a text.
Yeah, you've got to. Yeah. Right. So secondary course. Can you just scroll up a minute? No, go back into. Click on edit. Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Just scroll up a minute. Scroll down. Scroll down again. Right. Just click on the secondary. My secondary course on there. So I've added my secondary call sign. So now, when I select that, it will bring up 20 SBS stroke mobile. So I can then add any of my mobile contacts directly in there, and it will separate it quite nicely from my home Qrz, my mobile position or my portable position. Okay, right. So now let's get Mike to write the rule. So if you go back into click on my 20 SBS. Go to my logbook. Now go to filter. And a filter there. Filter. Click on the down thing.
Yeah.
Scroll down to new filter. Click that. So once you've done that, you get this option come up here. So going down, delete that. And then write in there TARS space Q1 space 2022 and save it. Right, in the select field, go to select, scroll. So this shows you all the different rules that you can set up, but the one I'm interested in is Qrz start day. So you click on that, and then on there, click on that, between. Click on the, scroll back to January, click on 1, next value 31st, add row, and there you go. So that row has now brought up all my QSOs in Q1 2022. If you scroll all the way down,
Busy. Been very busy.
so my first QSO was on the 1st of January. Scroll all the way up. That's the details. Scroll across. Go all the way up. And then scroll across. Back the other way. And then my last QSO was the 17th, which I believe was yesterday. So basically that's it. So now if you close that, go back into there, or go back into here, go to all QSOs. So when I come, so that loads all my QSOs now.
You've been too busy.
Something may have gone wrong.
Yeah.
My computing has this trouble.
I think the log is very big.
Right, so we're back there. So if you go back into filter, so there is my Q1 2022 filter. If you click on it, so there it is. So that's what my QSO. So now when it comes to the 31st, all I got to do is click on that, and any other contacts I've made up until then will be listening. Right, do you want to go back to the next slide? Right. Right, so is there any final questions?
Yeah, those awards that you've been given, are they Qrz?
Yeah.
So they just give you that for the...
Well, you've got to apply for them. There's a way you've got you going in and checking how you apply for the award, and it'll tell you whether you can or not. But what I do also is, I also download any confirmed QSOs, the logbook of the award. So that you have to get a logbook of the road account, and there's a special key that they give you, and it's a real pain in the butt to do that. But once you've done it, then it's easy. And all I do in Qrz is if you go back to the live page. If you go into my book, I think it's in my book. Go to settings. So this is, you just scroll up. So this is this authentication that logbook of the world has been enabled. So the last import I made from logbook of the world was back in November. So I need to do that again. And all I do is just go on here and then just click on export, and it will click on import, and it will look for those records in qrz.com, and then look at the file of the records that I've got in log4om and automatically match those up and give me that little round circle around to say that it's been confirmed in logbook of the world. Or I can apply for awards from logbook of the world. I think Eddie, you've got one from logbook of the world, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done the DXCC.
Are they?
All the PPWW, all these were there.
So when you log something, you upload the logs to both Qrz and logbook of the world.
Yeah.
So you've got two operations to do.
I
And
do that.
hopefully those two bodies will get together.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. So from the next part I'll be covering with log4om, you can do that within that application. So you just put the codes into a special area in log4om. And what it does is, as soon as you shut the application down, it runs a script, and the script says, right, upload it to logbook of the world. So it automatically uploads to logbook of the world, and then it comes down and says confirmed, no errors. Now, if I log just a normal QSO in log4om, as soon as I, finish the QSO and submit it to log it, the QSO from log4om automatically then goes to Qrz.com. I don't have to do anything else.
So effectively you're running three logbooks.
Yeah.
Log4om, which is on the
Yeah,
website.
I also-
You've got these two out there.
Yeah, but I only log in one place.
Yeah, you only log in one place, but you've got three versions of that.
I mean, there was the other logbooks, I can't remember what they're called.
You can do a server.
Oh, yeah, and uploads to QSL.com, EQSL. So it does upload to QSL at the same time. So, you know, I don't have to mess around.
So effectively, you don't need to use the bureau, do you?
With EQSL you don't, no.
No.
Because, you know, you get,
No,
if they're a member of EQSL and it matches the records, then you don't can't. And if you want any, you know, nice specific price, then
You don't get any QSL cards.
no.
It's all electronic. Oh, really? Picture.
But they're not just saying to look for local plan, the locals. So like he was talking to me, he put the course on me, which is a centre and goes into the local. It then automatically uploads it to Qrz, uploads it to the Qrz. So it's in the background format. All you do is just look at the Qrz.
You don't have to keep, you know, copy it.
So they're not really up files,
You know, making it in that file, and going to QRZ.com and import it.
I'm just thinking, the more amateurs do this, the RSVB QSL.
It's still very people still want to.
I know, yeah, people still like it.
You can only sit on
This is all, yeah, okay.
And the other thing is also with that PA. You know, if I got one single lot of contract with that PA, it automatically uploads it to the log file and then offshore and automatically uploads it to QRZ.com. And when close log file went down, it automatically uploads it to the log as well. Right. Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
So was it useful?
Yeah.
Couple of questions for you. Firstly, are there any limitations to the logging programs that Qrz will actually work with? I mean, for example, I know it works with Ham Radio Deluxe, I know it works with Log4OM, but are there any that people might be using that you know it's not compatible with?
No. I mean, I'm just sort of, you know, decided I looked at Log4OM, liked it, you know, it gives me a lot of good information there, you know, I can add my details from QRZ to Log4OM. So as soon as I enter a call sign, it will show up that person's picture up in Log4OM. But the other beauty part of it is it will also give me the position of where he is in the country. So if I made contact, say, with the USA, it will pinpoint on the map that he's in, you know, Oklahoma, and you can really zoom in to see where he actually is. And I think that's a great feature.
Does Qrz give a list of the actual programs there?
No, all it says is, you know, it will integrate with other logging programs. There is a big help system with Qrz.com, and you can actually email in a question, and they'll give you a ticket number, and then they'll give you a response. Depending on what your subscriber status is with Qrz.com and a lot of other online stuff, depends how fast they respond. If you're an ordinary user, then they normally say they'll respond within 48 hours. If you go into the help files right at the back and dig into the system, it will tell you, or does tell you, which software programs are compatible. And because this has been developed over such a long time, that list is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And essentially speaking, it says at the top, if your login system creates an AVIF file, it will work. In fact, they almost guarantee it. You know what I mean?
I use Winlog 32.
Yeah, that might work with it.
Yeah, but I can create an AVF if I wanted to.
You can create an AVIF file and upload it to
And one other question, John. I'm not a regular user of Qrz apart from looking people up occasionally if I make a QSO and want to know who they are.
Yeah.
But I do have a Qrz page which I set up when I have my foundation license. At the moment I've still got to log in under my foundation license, and I use that to manage my intermediate and my full license.
Right.
I've not yet found a way that I can actually change my login to my full licence call sign without losing everything that I've got previously. Are you aware?
Are you a paid up subscriber or not?
No, I've been running the free one because, as I say, I hardly use it. But if it's something looking at that I would consider, but I'd like to be able to transfer everything over.
I know when I changed my call sign from M7 to 2E0, I think I just contacted them and said, look, my call sign,
You have to contact them, so
my call sign's changed from M7 to 2E0.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Can
lose
you
your,
can you update my Qrz page, please?
it doesn't lose your
okay.
M7 logins though either. You still keep them, but it sets you up as two logbooks.
Yeah.
Your old logbook.
But my old
M7.
logbook's still there. That's the thing.
Yeah, but so what you could do then is, well, you'd have to export that your ADF file from your M7 to E0
Yeah.
and import that into your. But
Yeah,
then it
yeah,
was.
could do that.
Yeah, you don't need to. You can set up multiple logbooks within the single login.
Yeah, like
from
I've
different
done.
call signs.
Yeah, like I've done.
So I've got an M7 one and an E3 one and also a full one.
Yeah,
So
that's
I've
what I've got.
three
But,
separate
yeah.
logbooks in the same account.
but I've still got to log in with my foundation call sign and all.
You get separate logs, you can't merge one into the other, could they?
No.
No.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks, John. Any further
Oh
questions
yes,
for John?
the Log4OM,
Yeah,
is that a subscription service?
no, it's free.
Right, free. Yeah.
Totally free. It's a really nice program.
Always open for donations, of course.
Yeah, they're always open to donations.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to donate, 10 quid or something, they're happy to accept it.
you can, with the qrz.com as a subscriber, you can actually upgrade your membership, as they call it, can't you, by paying I can't remember how much it is, but the only thing it really gives you with EQSL and qrz.com is you get a more rapid response of the help system, and you're allowed more uploads per day, like log uploads, and you're also allowed more lookups. I think if you're an ordinary subscriber, you're allowed up to something like half a dozen call sign lookups a day, and then it goes, cough up sort of thing. But I've paid them all. It's a lot of it's suggested donations. So like with EQSL, I just set up a $5 a month payment and then let it run until I got a message saying congratulations, you're now a platinum user or whatever, and you don't have to pay any more. So if you do a lot of EQSLing, etc., then it's actually worth having. And every so often, every quarter, they send you a message saying you've sent 400 EQSLs and saved yourself 66 quid in postage or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you're a Radcom, if you're an RSGB member, you can still use, or you can use the bureau for incoming and outgoing. If you're not an RSGB member, guys, you can still receive cards, but you can't send them. So you don't actually have to be an RSGB member to receive cards through the bureau. But what you must do is submit an envelope or a series of envelopes that are prepaid and addressed to your relevant QSL manager. And bear in mind that the Post Office, I think at the end of this month, are stopping us using stamps that have just only got first class or second class on them.
Not right. Go at the end of the year.
At the end of the year.
Yeah,
it's not selling at the end of the month.
So
So if you've got any stamps that have only got first or second on, use them, because there is a point where they're going to not accept them.
They put in the price on them again, don't they?
Yeah. So remember that if you're submitting half dozen envelopes to the bureau. Yeah. Because if you only ask the bureau to send you an envelope every 4 months or every quarter or whatever, and you go after the end of this year, the stamp on that might not be valid.
Okay, any other questions? Do you find it useful?
Yeah.
Right.
There's a column with all little different colours.
What stars and things?
No, the little circular things with something written in it. I can't really read it.
Oh, that's the band you work.
Bang.
Yeah, so that, read that right.
Literally, it's too basic. It just says 2 metres or
Yeah, just, I think that you're referring to, just shows you down, look at that. You go to my logbook, yeah. Is it those coloured ones there?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so what it does, it shows you the date you made a QSO, the time, the call sign, the band you worked, the frequency, scroll back, go that way, sorry, go that way. You know, you worked him on FT8, that was his grid square, and he's a German amateur.
I must admit, I'm there logged on radio, oh, it's changed.
So you don't get the actual part.
Sorry? You can't import, sorry, you can import QSOs, but you can't export. Oh yeah, you can.
Because I like QSOs where, you know, instantly I would see I'm working, just put me up there. As a free, I've only got a free exchange. So can I put mine
Yeah, you can log calls.
Oh, right, yeah, I can put it up there.
Yeah, so you can actually, you know, if you're using, what logging program are you using? Yeah, so you can import an ADF file from your logging program into qrz.com.
So that put all my QSOs.
That put all your QSOs in qrz.com. But what you won't be able to do is to export out unless you're a subscriber.
So they won't go to the QSL
No. If you wanted to go to EQSL, then you'd have to use a program like I mean, I don't know your program.
it's an old
Yes. Log forum is fairly new, and all you do is you just say in the program, I want you to go to EQSL, and then you just put your course your password into your password into EQSL.
It's not particularly.
We can have a quick look. Have I got log forum open? Installed on that?